Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace and blessing be upon you all on his day. We all of Group 6 will present our talk show with the theme of large scale social reception or PSBB in overcoming the pandemic virus COVID-19.
Okay, moderator, will I meet the citizen, of course. We feel worried and a nation afraid of not anything and cannot fulfill our daily needs. How can we get income or cannot get income? Will we have to stay at home and we cannot work? So the effect has greatly impaired and work.
Good. Thanks to Mrs. Lestari for her opinion. We turn to Mrs. Lestari now. How do you respond to complaints for sustainable Mrs.?
Well, is it true what is said to be Mrs. Lestari? But here also the government a solution so that government is not just forcing it to stay at home, especially the lower middle class. In a large scale social retraction evaluation meeting, Presiden Joko Widodo instructions so that social assistance for underprivileged people affected by COVID-19 can be started immediately and on target. Her the regional work unit will go to the field so that the government program to provide assistance to be effective people of COVID-19 can run smoothly and in a orderly manner. Lower middle class people no need to be afraid and NVC because help from the government continues to run during the COVID-19. Thank you.
Well, large-scale social reception or PSBB are a rule that reduces the number of the COVID-19 cases. We as citizens must participate in following government regulations that have been enacted, and we all hope that any government decision does not harm that community, let alone to portion of the community in the implementation. Good. Thanks to our speaker and all the audience who followed our event. We are from the group of 6 Resignation. Wassalamualaikum. Greetings to all of us. Well, here I have invited your speaker who is extraordinary. There is Mrs. Listerina Pasaribu as Minister of Health. Good evening, Mrs. Listerina.
Good evening, Mrs. Fauzia Helmi Hasibuan.
There is also a Secretary General, Mrs. Sepiani Borutarigan. Good afternoon, Mrs. Sepiani.
Good afternoon, Miss Fauzia Helmi.
And here we also invite special guest, Mrs. Lestari. Good afternoon, Mrs. Lestari.
Good evening, Miss Fauzia Helmi Hasibuan.
What is actually the large-scale social limitation and how do you actually apply the rules of large-scale social reception?
Okay, thanks to Mrs. Fauzia Helmi Hasibuan. I, as Menteri Health, will explain what exactly is large-scale social retraction is. Well, the government imposed large-scale social retraction to suppress the spread of the coronavirus or COVID-19 in Indonesia. This is state in the Republic of Indonesia, Government Regulation Number 21 of 2020 concerning large-scale social repression in the framework of accelerating handling of coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19. In the government regulation, large-scale social repression are defined as repression on certain activities um, of the population in an area suspected of being infected with COVID-19 to prevent the possibility of spreading the virus, which means that not all Indonesians can undertake this large-scale social limited. So, to be able to set large-scale social repression, a province or district and or city must meet two criteria. And number one, the number of cases or the number of deaths due to disease increased and spread significantly and quickly to several regions. Number two, and there are epidemiological links with similar events in other regions or country. Large-scale social repression will be valid for 40 days, and if there is still evidence of spread, it can be exactly within 40 days or the discovery of the last case. And the application of large-scale social retribution is done by number one, school and job vacancies, except service, defense, and security relative to public order and agency relative to food, fuel, health, economy, communication, import and export industry, logistik, dan financial distribusi. Number two, restriction on regulation activities. Number three, retreat activities in public place. Number four, restriction on social and cultural activities. And number five, transportation capital restriction. By applying this, the likelihood of the spread of the COVID-19 virus will be reduced. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Mrs. Vistarina. Well, here we know the implementation restricted large-scale social truth. However, face the implementation of restricted large-scale social in very much obstacles. Moreover, recently, all of us were horrified again by the brawl in the midst of the implementation of large-scale social restriction. So, what are the obstacles that make this large-scale social restriction? Christem to that President Joko Widodo himself asked to revise these large-scale social restrictions.
So before I explain how the large-scale social rotation is currently implemented, I will first explain what tips are prohibited when the region implement large-scale social rotation, because there are still communities that got to continue to carry out activity by gathering mass at this time. So, in the current large-scale social rotation, public transport rules must now carry a maximum of 50% of transport passengers in COVID-19 control and in the rules of marriage and cremation activity. In large-scale social rotation, this can be done on condition that there is no collaboration. And for the rules of prefers can still do activity during the implementation of large-scale social rotation, but must still comply with the rules of these days. So, the implementation of large-scale social rotation is currently not going well. There are still many people who have not completed with it even though it's been made sense if it follows the rules. Large social rotation can be seen Article 93, Article 9 of Law Number 6 Year 2008 regarding health contempt with the death of impairment for 1 year and a fine 100 million. But there are still many people who have not
Well, we go back to the Mrs. Lesterina. According to the Mrs., what went wrong in the implementation of restricted social scale or PSBB?
Well, actually, nothing wrong. But we all do another evaluation of the implementation of restriction of large-scale social is in accordance with the order Master President Jokowi and in accordance with the directive Master Jokowi that there are three that need to be evaluated in the implementation of restriction of social scale this magnitude. That is, each region must be able to misvalue increase COVID-19 sample testing, then follow it by progressive tracking. And number three, closely export isolation. But previously, that government has also held a number of sample checking tools through the polymers chain reaction tests. As a result, the president hoped that at least one day examination can be carried out with a number of more than 10,000 tests.
Good. Thank you to Mrs. Lesterina and Mrs. Sepiani. Well, the implementation of the restriction of large-scale social is very important in reducing the number of cases COVID-19, but in fact, implementation restricted large-scale social is very controversial, especially on public among medium. So we turn to the impact of the implementation of large-scale social representation among the middle to lower classes. To what sustainable measures do you feel during the implementation of this large-scale social representation?
To cope with COVID virus 19, the government has been neck. But we as a medium of the people have the government pay more attention to our people made class during the virus 19 lockdown.
So, what do you expect from the government in tackling the COVID-19 virus that is currently being hit?